I sit at my kitchen table with Derek. I just told him my pension is $1,000 monthly instead of $8,000. I watch his face transform. First shock, then what looks like pity, then something else, something cold. He reaches across and takes my hand, but his grip is too tight. He says we need to talk about my finances right now, tonight. He pulls out papers from his briefcase, legal documents. How did he bring papers if this conversation just happened? My blood runs cold. He planned this. I stare at those papers spread across my kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene. My hands are shaking so badly, I have to clasp them together in my lap where Derek cannot see. The documents have official letterheads, words like power of attorney and financial guardianship printed in bold letters at the top. My mouth goes dry. Derek speaks gently, his voice the same soothing tone he used as a boy when he wanted something from me. But there is steel underneath now, something hard and unyielding. He says I cannot possibly manage on $1,000 a month. He says he and Candace have discussed this situation extensively. They want to help me. They need me to sign these papers giving him access to my bank accounts, just temporarily, just to help organize my bills and make sure everything gets paid on time. My mind is racing. I raised this boy alone after his father Harold died 15 years ago. Put him through college working double shifts at the library, helped with his down payment on his first house. Does he know I am lying about the pension amount? Or does he truly believe me? I wanted to test him, you see. For months he had been dropping hints about needing money, complaining about Candace's shopping habits, mentioning that new boat he bought and how the payments were steeper than he expected. I thought if he believed I had very little money, he would stop asking. But this reaction, this prepared stack of legal papers, this is not what I expected at all. Derek leans forward, his elbows on my table, right on top of the placemat I embroidered 20 years ago. He is insistent, but careful not to seem aggressive. He talks about how I am getting older, how managing bills is complicated these days with everything online. He mentions how I might forget payments or lose track of due dates. He brings up Mrs. Henderson from 3 houses down, who got scammed out of $12,000 by someone pretending to be from the IRS. He says he loves me and cannot bear to watch me struggle. Right on cue, his phone rings. It is Candace. He puts her on speaker, and her voice fills my kitchen, dripping with concern that sounds as fake as costume jewelry. She asks if I am okay, if I understand they just want to help. She mentions they have already researched some lovely assisted living facilities in the area, just to know what options exist. Just in case. The way she says, just in case, makes my stomach turn. I force myself to speak. I tell Derek I can manage my finances perfectly fine. I have been managing them for years, ever since Harold passed. Derek's expression hardens just slightly, a shadow crossing his face. He asks about the leak in my roof I mentioned last month, the strange noise my car has been making, the property taxes coming due in 6 weeks. How exactly will I afford all of that on $1,000 a month, he wants to know. When did I tell him about a roof leak? I cannot remember mentioning it. I glance up at my ceiling, looking for water stains I might have forgotten about. There are none. Is he making this up? Testing me? My confusion must show on my face, because he presses harder. He slides the papers closer to me, pulls a pen from his shirt pocket. He points to signature lines, marked with little colored tabs. He says it will only take a minute. He says he is doing this because he loves me, because family takes care of family. But I did not ask him to take care of me. I push the papers back across the table. I tell him no. I say thank you, but no. I do not need help with my finances. I appreciate his concern, but I am perfectly capable. The change in him is immediate and frightening. The warmth drains from his face like water from a tub. He stands up fast enough that his chair scrapes across my floor, leaving a mark. He gathers the papers with sharp, angry movements, shoving them back into his briefcase, with none of the care he showed taking them out. He says I am being stubborn, foolish. He says when I call him crying because my electricity got shut off or I cannot afford groceries, I should remember this moment. Remember that he tried to help, and I refused him. Remember that I chose pride over common sense. He walks to my front door. I follow, unsure what to say, how to fix this. But do I want to fix it? Something is very wrong here. He turns in my doorway, his silhouette dark against the evening light outside. He says one more thing. He says he will not watch me destroy yourself. He says next time I reach out, he might not be able to help. The door closes hard enough to rattle the pictures on my hallway wall. I stand there in the silence, my heart hammering against my ribs. I need to call Pauline. My best friend will know what to make of this. I reach for my phone and realize it is dead. I go to plug it in, but the charger is not on my nightstand, where I always keep it. Panic flutters in my chest. Where did I put it? I search for 10 minutes before I find it plugged into an outlet in the guest bathroom. But I did not put it there. I never charge my phone in that bathroom. Did Derek move it? No, I am being paranoid. I must have plugged it in there and forgotten, but I do not remember going into that bathroom today. I plug in my phone and wait for it to power on. As the screen lights up, I try to shake off the feeling that something has shifted in my life. That the small lie I told has opened a door I did not know existed. And on the other side of that door, my son is not the person I thought he was. 3 days pass, and I do not hear from Derek. I called him twice. He did not answer. I left voicemails asking if we could talk, saying maybe I overreacted. Guilt eats at me during the day and keeps me awake at night. Maybe he really was trying to help. Maybe I was too harsh with him. Maybe I should have just explained about the pension, told him the truth. I decide to pay some bills to prove to myself that I can manage just fine. I pull out my laptop and log into my bank account. I have been doing online banking for 5 years now. I type in my password, the same one I always use. The screen flashes red. Incorrect password. I must have mistyped. I try again, carefully this time. Incorrect password. My hands start to shake. I click on Forgot Password. It says a reset link has been sent to an email address, but the email shown is not mine. It ends in a combination of numbers I do not recognize. My email address has my name in it, has had my name in it for years. I call the bank. The phone tree takes forever. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. I finally reach a human being, a young woman who sounds tired. I explain the situation. She transfers me. I explain again. The second person transfers me to someone in security. I explain for the 3rd time, my voice rising despite my best efforts to stay calm. The security representative asks me a series of questions to verify my identity, my social security number, my mother's maiden name, the name of my first pet. I answer them all. There is a long pause while he types. Then he says the email address and phone number associated with my account were changed 4 days ago. 4 days ago. The day before Derek came over with those papers. I ask if I authorized this. My voice sounds strange, distant. The representative says someone did, someone with access to my account information. He says they can fix it, but I need to come to a branch in person with 2 forms of identification. I agree to come first thing in the morning. I hang up and sit very still in my chair. Derek had my checkbook last month. I let him borrow it to pay a contractor who was doing work on his house because Derek said his checks had not arrived yet from his new bank. He said he only wrote 1 check. Did he take more? Did he copy down my account information? I stand up fast enough to make myself dizzy and walk to my spare bedroom where I keep my filing cabinet. Important documents live here: Medicare cards, insurance policies, tax returns, pension statements, the deed to my house. I unlock the cabinet and start pulling out folders. They are not all here. My Medicare information folder is gone. The folder with my pension statements is missing. My property deed, the actual paper deed Harold and I got when we paid off the mortgage 12 years ago, it is not here. I know they were here. I filed my latest pension statement just 3 weeks ago. I remember doing it. Remember sliding the folder back into the drawer. The filing cabinet lock is intact. I have the only key. Unless Derek made a copy years ago, when he helped me move this cabinet from the garage to the spare bedroom after Harold died. I need to see Derek. I need to look him in the eye and ask him what is happening. I grab my purse and keys and drive to his house. It is only 20 minutes away in a subdivision with houses that all look the same, big and new and expensive. Too expensive for a car salesman's salary. I remember thinking when they bought it, but I did not say anything. Not my business. I park in the driveway behind Derek's truck. I walk to the front door and ring the bell. Candace answers. Her smile is immediate and bright and completely fake. She is wearing yoga clothes that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She says Derek is not home. I point at his truck sitting right there in the driveway. She does not miss a beat. She says he went for a run, just left a few minutes ago. I ask when he will be back. She says she does not know. He has been so busy with work lately, so stressed. I tell her I need to speak with him. She says she will let him know I stopped by. She starts to close the door. I put my hand on the door. I say I need to speak with him now, about my bank account, about my missing documents. Candace's smile fades. She says I need to leave. She says they are worried about me. Coming here unannounced, making wild accusations. It is concerning behavior. Something inside me snaps. I push past her into the house. She makes a noise of protest, but I am already in the foyer calling Derek's name. I walk toward the back of the house where his home office is. Candace follows me saying I need to leave right now, or she will call the police. Derek emerges from his office. His face is furious. But behind him, through the open office door, I see it. My filing cabinet. My actual filing cabinet from my spare bedroom, the one with the dented corner from when Harold dropped it moving into our first house 40 years ago, sitting in Derek's office, like it belongs there. I point at it. I ask how he got into my house. When did he take it? I was home every day. Derek grabs my arm, his fingers digging into my flesh hard enough to hurt. He steers me back toward the front door. He says if I ever barge into his home again, he will call the police and press charges for trespassing. He says I am clearly not well, confused, paranoid, making up stories. He says maybe that tiny pension is not enough to cover my medications. Maybe I have been skipping doses. He opens the front door and pushes me out onto the porch. Not hard enough to make me fall, but firm enough to make his point. He shuts the door in my face. I hear the deadbolt slide into place. I stand there, humiliated and terrified. Mrs. Patterson from across the street is getting her mail. She is watching. She saw everything. I walk back to my car on legs, that feel like they belong to someone else. 1 week passes. I went to the bank like they told me. I changed all my passwords. I changed the email address on all my accounts. I changed my phone number on file. The bank employee was sympathetic but unhelpful beyond these basic fixes. She suggested I might want to consider adding a trusted family member to my accounts for backup access. I did not tell her my trusted family member is the problem. I thought changing everything would make me feel safer. It does not. If anything, I feel more vulnerable than before. Pauline calls me on a Thursday afternoon. Her voice sounds strange, careful. She asks how I am feeling. I say I am fine. Why would she ask that? There is a long pause on the line. She says Derek called her. He is worried about me. He says I have been acting erratic, forgetting things, showing up at his house making accusations. He wondered if she had noticed any changes in my behavior. I feel like the floor has disappeared beneath my feet. I tell Pauline the truth. I tell her everything. Derek stealing my documents, changing my bank information, trying to force me to sign papers. I tell her about the filing cabinet in his office. Pauline is quiet for so long I think the call dropped. Then she speaks, and her voice is gentle in a way that makes me want to cry. She says maybe I am under a lot of stress. Maybe I am remembering things wrong. She asks if I have considered seeing a doctor just to rule out any health issues. I realize Derek got to her first. He planted seeds of doubt, and now nothing I say will sound believable. Pauline says maybe we should postpone our weekly lunch this week. Give me time to rest. We can reschedule when I am feeling better. I hang up, and immediately 3 other friends call over the next 2 days with similar concerns. Doris from church, Margaret from my book club, even Sandra, who I have known since our boys were in elementary school together. Derek contacted all of them. He painted a picture of a mother declining mentally, becoming paranoid and confused. Some of them believe him completely. Others are uncertain but cautious around me now. No one offers unconditional support. I am being systematically isolated. Sunday I go to church like I have every Sunday for 30 years. I walk into the sanctuary, and people who normally rush over to hug me offer small, pitying smiles instead. They keep their distance. During coffee hour after the service, conversation's quiet when I approach groups. Pastor Williams pulls me aside. He is a kind man in his 50s who has known me for 15 years. He says he spoke with Derek this week. He suggests I might benefit from the church's senior support group. It meets on Tuesday evenings and focuses on helping older congregants experiencing memory issues and cognitive changes. The humiliation burns through me like acid. I leave service early for the first time in 3 decades. At home, I check my mailbox. It is empty. That is strange. I usually get something, even if just junk mail. The next day, still nothing. On the 3rd day, I call the post office. After being on hold for 20 minutes, I reach someone who checks my address in their system. She tells me a change of address form was filed for my residence 3 weeks ago. My mail is being forwarded to a post office box I do not own. I insist I did not file any such form. She says it was done online. Someone with my name and address submitted it. 3 weeks ago, right after I told Derek about the pension. I tell her this is fraud. She says I need to fill out a form to cancel the forwarding and possibly file a police report. She emails me the form. It will take 7 to 10 business days to process. 7 to 10 days without my mail. 7 to 10 days where Derek receives every bill, every statement, every piece of mail that comes to my address. I try to call my daughter Grace in Oregon. We are not close. Have not been since she moved away 8 years ago. Grace and Derek never got along. She always said he was manipulative, that he played people. I defended him, told her she was being cruel about her brother. I wish I had listened. Grace's phone goes to voicemail. I leave a message, trying to sound calm, but my voice cracks halfway through. I tell her, I need to talk. It is important. Please call me back. Days pass. Grace does not call. Finally, on day 5, I get a text message. It says, Derek told me you are not doing well. I think it is best if we talk after you see a doctor. I cannot handle drama right now. Sorry, Mom. Derek got to her too. My daughter, my only daughter, and he poisoned her against me before I could even explain. On a Tuesday afternoon, I receive a certified letter. I have to sign for it. My hands shake so badly, the postal carrier asks if I am all right. I take the letter inside and open it with a knife because my fingers cannot manage the seal. It is from an attorney. The letterhead says, Morgan and Associates, Family Law. The letter is addressed to me, and it states that my son Derek is filing for emergency conservatorship due to my diminished mental capacity. There is a court date, 2 weeks from today. The letter includes a list of incidents, times I allegedly wandered around confused, bills I supposedly forgot to pay, though I have never missed a payment in my life, the paranoid accusations I made against my loving son, erratic behavior witnessed by multiple community members. Each incident is either a twisted version of something real or a complete fabrication. The time I showed up at his house becomes me wandering confused in his neighborhood. Me changing my bank passwords becomes me forgetting my passwords and losing access to my own accounts. Everything is reframed to make me look incompetent. The letter says Derek has hired a psychologist, Dr. Bernard Stone, who will evaluate me. The evaluation is mandatory. If I do not comply, the judge will be informed of my non-compliance, and it will count against me. I read the letter 3 times. Then I fold it carefully and set it on my kitchen table. I walk to my bedroom, and I lie down on top of the covers, fully clothed. I stare at the ceiling where the afternoon light makes patterns through the curtains. My son is trying to take everything. My independence, my money, my life, and I only have 2 weeks to stop him. 10 days before the court hearing, I know I need a lawyer, but I have no idea where to start. The money Derek left accessible to me is limited. I discover when I finally get my bank situation sorted that he somehow froze most of my accounts pending the conservatorship hearing. The bank explains that with legal action filed, they have to protect the assets until the court decides. I have maybe $2,000 in cash hidden in my house. Harold always kept emergency money in a coffee can in the back of the pantry. I never thought I would need it like this. I call every legal aid organization in the county. Most have waiting lists months long. One finally agrees to send someone for a consultation. Her name is Angela Martinez, and she arrives at my house on a rainy Wednesday morning, carrying a briefcase and wearing a suit that has seen better days. She is young, maybe 35, younger than I expected. She sits at my kitchen table and listens to my story with an expression that grows more troubled with every detail. She takes notes in a yellow legal pad, her handwriting fast and messy. When I finish, she sets down her pen and looks at me. She says conservatorship cases are very difficult to fight, especially when the petitioner has already built a narrative. She says Derek has been smart about this, methodical. He laid groundwork for weeks, maybe months, got statements from friends and neighbors, created a paper trail of concern. She says she will take my case, but I need to understand the odds. Judges tend to err on the side of caution with elderly people. If there is any doubt about my capacity, They may grant the conservatorship just to be safe. I ask what happens if I lose. Angela does not sugarcoat it. If Derek is granted conservatorship, he will control all my finances. He can sell my house. He can decide where I live. He can make my medical decisions. I will be legally dependent on him for everything. I feel sick, but I tell her I want to fight. Dr. Bernard Stone calls me 2 days later to schedule my psychological evaluation. His voice is professional but cold, like he is scheduling a car maintenance appointment instead of an assessment that will determine my entire future. I ask if I can bring Angela with me. He says evaluations must be conducted one-on-one. I reluctantly agree to an appointment. His office is in a medical building near the hospital. The waiting room has motivational posters and magazines from 3 years ago. Dr. Stone is in his 50s with gray hair and glasses. He shakes my hand with a grip that is slightly too firm. The evaluation lasts 3 hours. Memory tests, puzzle solving, questions about current events. Some of the questions seem designed to confuse me. He asks me to count backward from 100 by sevens. He shows me a list of words and asks me to remember them. He asks about my pension. I tell him the truth. It is $8,000 monthly, not $1,000. I explain why I lied to Derek, that I wanted to test whether he would pressure me for money. Doctor, Stone's expression gives nothing away. He writes extensive notes, pages and pages of them. I cannot see what he is writing. When the evaluation ends, Dr. Stone says he will file his report with the court within a week. He does not tell me how I did. I leave his office feeling drained and defeated. Angela calls me 3 days later. She filed our response to Derek's petition and requested discovery. The documents from Derek's attorney arrived, and Angela needs to see me immediately. She comes to my house that evening. She spreads papers across my kitchen table, and her face is grim. Derek has medical records. They show diagnoses of early dementia, moderate cognitive decline, episodes of confusion. The doctor's name is Dr. Raymond Phillips. An address is listed for his practice across town. I have never heard of Dr. Raymond Phillips. I have never been to that address. These records are about me, with my name and date of birth, but I have never seen this doctor in my life. Angela says she will investigate. She calls Dr. Phillips' office the next morning while I am sitting in her cramped legal aid office. The receptionist says they have no record of me as a patient. Their system goes back 15 years, and my name does not appear anywhere. The records are fake, fabricated, but they look official, complete with letterhead and signatures and medical codes. Grace finally calls me back. But instead of the support I desperately need, she is angry. Derek sent her documentation, the fake medical records. She believes them. She accuses me of lying about my health, of hiding a diagnosis from her. She says she cannot deal with this. She has her own life and her own problems. She says whatever Derek thinks is best, he should do. He is there. He can see what is happening, and she trusts his judgment. I try to explain. I tell her the records are fake. She says that is exactly what someone with dementia would say. She says she has to go. The line goes dead. I sit in Angela's office and cry for the first time through this whole nightmare. Angela hands me tissues and says, "We will prove the records are fake. We will find out how Derek created them." But she looks worried. 3 nights before the hearing, I wake to sounds downstairs. My bedroom is on the 2nd floor, and I hear footsteps, the creak of floorboards. Terror freezes me in place. Then, I force myself to move. I grab my phone and call 911. I whisper that someone is in my house. The police arrive in 8 minutes. I stay locked in my bedroom until I hear them call that it is safe. I come downstairs and find 2 officers and Derek standing in my living room. Derek has a key. He says he let himself in because he was worried about me. The officers seem to accept this immediately. An adult son checking on his elderly mother. Derek tells them, I have been acting disturbed lately. He shows them paperwork, the conservatorship petition. He says he was checking to make sure I was okay, that I had not fallen or hurt myself. The officers look at me with pity. One of them suggests I change my locks if I do not want family members entering, but his tone suggests he thinks I am overreacting. After they leave, Derek smiles at me. He says, I cannot win this. Everyone believes him. The judge will too. He walks out my front door like he owns the place. Angela calls the next morning with news that makes my stomach drop. Dr. Stone filed his evaluation report with the court. She got a copy. It recommends full conservatorship. It says I show signs of paranoid delusions, financial incompetence, and inability to care for myself. It specifically cites my confession that I lied about my pension amount as evidence of deceptive behavior, indicating cognitive decline. It recommends Derek be appointed conservator of both my person and my estate. Angela says we can fight this in court, but the report is very damaging. Judges give significant weight to psychological evaluations. I have 3 days until the hearing, 3 days before I could lose everything. My home, my money, my freedom, Derek will control it all, and I will be powerless to stop him. The morning of the hearing, I barely slept. I dress carefully in my best Navy suit, the one I wore to retirement dinners and formal events. I want to look competent, put together. Angela told me appearance matters. Judges notice everything. Angela meets me outside the courthouse. She coaches me one final time. Stay calm. Answer questions clearly and concisely. Do not get emotional or defensive. Emotions will be used against me as evidence of instability. I nod, but my hands are shaking. We enter the courtroom. It is smaller than I expected, wood-paneled and formal. Judge Patricia Holloway presides. She is a woman in her late 50s, with gray hair pulled back severely. Her expression is neutral, but her eyes are sharp. Derek sits at the other table with his attorney, a man in an expensive suit named Marcus Webb. Candace sits in the gallery behind Derek, wearing black like she is attending a funeral. Maybe she is. The funeral of my independence. Judge Holloway calls the hearing to order. Marcus Webb stands first. He outlines Derek's petition in language that makes my son sound like a saint, and me sound like a woman losing her grip on reality. He says this is a difficult situation for the entire family. Derek loves his mother deeply but can no longer stand by and watch her decline without intervention. Derek takes the witness stand. He is sworn in. Marcus Webb asks him questions, and Derek's answers are perfect, practiced. He talks about how he first noticed changes in me about 6 months ago. Small things at first. Repeating stories. Forgetting appointments. Then larger concerns. Confusion about finances. Paranoid accusations. Showing up at his home making wild claims. He provides specific dates and times for each incident. He has kept a journal, he says. Documentation of his concerns. He submits it as evidence. Derek describes the night I told him about my pension, how I claimed it was only $1,000, how worried he was that I did not understand my own finances, how he tried to help, and I became hostile and paranoid. He cries. Actual tears run down his face. He says this is the hardest thing he has ever had to do. All he wants is to keep me safe, to protect me from myself. Marcus Webb submits the fake medical records from Dr. Raymond Phillips. He submits Dr. Stone's evaluation. He calls character witnesses. Mrs. Patterson, my neighbor who saw me at Derek's house. She testifies that I seemed agitated and confused. Pastor Williams testifies that I left church abruptly, which was concerning given my usual devotion. 3 more people take the stand, each one echoing the narrative Derek created. They are not lying exactly. They believe what they are saying. They genuinely think I am declining because Derek told them I was, and humans see what they expect to see. Angela calls me to the stand. I am sworn in, my hand on the Bible, and I swear to tell the truth. That is all I have ever done, the truth. Angela asks me to explain about the pension. I tell the judge I lied to Derek. I explain why. For months he had been hinting that he needed money. I wanted to see how he would react if he thought I had very little. It was a test. I realize now it sounds foolish, but it was not meant to be deceptive in a harmful way. It was protective. Even as I say it, I know how weak it sounds. Marcus Webb cross-examines me. He asks why I would lie to my own son. He asks if I often lie. He suggests the lying itself, the creation of elaborate tests, is evidence of cognitive issues, paranoid thinking, poor judgment. He brings up the mail forwarding, the bank password changes, my accusation about the filing cabinet. He frames each of my defensive actions as evidence of confusion and paranoia. He asks if I truly believe my son, who has always cared for me, would steal from me. The way he says it makes me sound delusional. I start to get emotional. I can feel it happening, and I cannot stop it. My voice rises. I sound desperate. I sound exactly how Angela warned me not to sound. Angela calls Dr. Ellen Westbrook, my actual physician of 15 years. Dr. Westbrook testifies that she has treated me regularly, and I show no signs of dementia or cognitive decline. She is professional and credible. But Marcus Webb produces the records from Dr. Raymond Phillips. He asks why I would see another doctor for memory issues and not tell Dr. Westbrook. He plants seeds of doubt. Maybe I was hiding my decline. Maybe I knew something was wrong and sought other opinions. Dr. Westbrook insists the records must be fraudulent, but she cannot prove it right now, not in this moment. Angela presents bank statements showing my actual pension is $8,000 monthly. She argues Derek knew about this amount, and the entire petition is motivated by financial greed. She points out that Derek is in debt, that he needs money. But Marcus Webb counters. He asks if I truly receive $8,000 monthly. Why would I lie and say $1,000? What mentally sound person does that? He reframes the evidence of my healthy pension as proof of my impaired judgment. The lie itself becomes evidence against me. Judge Holloway asks me direct questions. She asks why I lied about my pension. I try to explain, but it sounds paranoid even to my ears. She asks about the incidents Derek described. I explain each one, but my explanations sound defensive. The judge asks if I have been under unusual stress. I say yes, because Derek has been stealing from me. I hear how that sounds. Paranoid, delusional. Everything I say is being used against me. Judge Holloway calls a recess. She needs to review the materials. Angela and I sit in the hallway. 30 minutes feel like 30 hours. Other cases are called in other courtrooms. Life goes on around us while mine hangs in the balance. The bailiff calls us back. Judge Holloway has returned to the bench. Her expression is troubled. She says she has reviewed all the evidence and testimony carefully. She says this is a difficult case with conflicting evidence. However, the psychological evaluation from Dr. Stone and the medical records from Dr. Phillips raise serious concerns. While she is not prepared to grant full conservatorship today, she is granting temporary emergency conservatorship to Derek for 90 days. During those 90 days, Derek will have control of my finances and authority to make medical decisions on my behalf. A social worker will evaluate my living situation. If, after 90 days, the concerns persist, full permanent conservatorship will be granted. The gavel comes down with a sound like a gunshot. I cannot breathe. Derek has won. I have 90 days before I lose everything permanently. As we leave the courtroom, Derek walks past me. He leans in close enough that only I can hear. He whispers, "You should have just signed the papers that first night, Mom. Would have been so much easier." 2 weeks into the conservatorship, my life is unrecognizable. Derek installed security cameras in my house. 4 of them. Living room, kitchen, front door, back door. He says they are for my safety, so he can check on me remotely. I feel watched constantly because I am watched constantly. He monitors my spending. He gives me an allowance of $100 a week, $100 from my own $8,000 monthly pension. The rest, he says, is going toward bills and savings for future care needs. I have no access to my own money beyond that weekly cash. He visits frequently, always unannounced. Sometimes Candace comes with him. She rearranges my belongings, throws things away without asking. My favorite chair is too old, she says, and replaces it with something modern that hurts my back. She moves my photos around, says the house needs updating. I feel like I am being erased from my own life. I am a prisoner in my own home. One afternoon there is a knock at my door. I open it to find Mr. Franklin from 3 houses down. He is 75, a widower like me. We have been neighbors for 20 years, but have never been particularly close. He asks if he can come in. I see him glance up at the camera Derek installed above my door. I invite him inside. Mr. Franklin sits in my kitchen, the same place this nightmare began. He has noticed Derek's frequent visits, the cameras. He is concerned. He asks me to tell him everything. I do. I tell him all of it. I expect him to make excuses to leave, to think I am crazy like everyone else does. But he listens with his full attention. When I finish, he is quiet for a moment. Then he tells me he was an attorney before he retired. Corporate law mostly, not family law, but he knows how the legal system works. He says something about this situation does not add up. Derek has been too prepared, too methodical. This kind of planning takes weeks or months. Derek has been working toward this for a long time. For the first time in weeks, I feel a spark of hope. Mr. Franklin suggests we investigate Derek's finances. If he is doing this for money, there will be evidence he needs money. Financial problems leave trails. But how can we investigate? We are not law enforcement. Mr. Franklin says he has connections, a private investigator who owes him a favor from years ago. Her name is Stephanie Torres. Within 2 days, she is sitting in my living room with her laptop and a notepad. She is in her 40s, efficient, and no nonsense. She explains her fees. Mr. Franklin says he will cover it. I try to protest, but he says to consider it a loan. Stephanie goes to work. Within a week, she has uncovered Derek's financial situation. He is drowning in debt. Credit cards maxed out to their limits. He took out a second mortgage on his house 6 months ago. The car dealership where he works is commission-based, and his sales have been terrible for 8 months straight. Candace's real estate career has dried up with the market slowdown. They are 3 months behind on their mortgage. The timeline makes perfect sense now. Derek started planning this conservatorship when his financial troubles began. He needs my money to save himself. Stephanie digs deeper into Dr. Raymond Phillips. She traces the fake medical records to a printing company downtown. Through records she obtains, through methods she says I am better off not knowing about, she finds Derek paid that printing company in cash for rush printing services. The date was 3 weeks before the court hearing. The medical records were sophisticated forgeries printed on legitimate letterhead. Dr. Phillips himself likely has no idea his name was used. Stephanie investigates Dr. Bernard Stone, the psychologist who evaluated me. His practice is struggling. He has significant debts. Then she finds it. A bank record showing Derek paid Dr. Stone $10,000 2 weeks before my evaluation. The payment was labeled consulting services. It was a bribe. Dr. Stone wrote the evaluation Derek wanted because Derek paid him to do it. This is illegal, unethical. It could cost Dr. Stone his license. But the most damning evidence comes from bank records Stephanie somehow accesses. For the past 3 months, Derek has been siphoning money from my accounts. Small amounts here and there that might not be noticed. A few $100 one day. 1,000 another. In total, he has stolen nearly $20,000 from me. This is financial elder abuse. This is a crime. Stephanie compiles everything into a thick folder. Bank records, payment receipts, phone records, showing Derek contacting all my friends before the hearing. A timeline of his actions. Evidence of fraud, forgery, bribery, and theft. I read through the folder with Mr. Franklin and Angela, who came over after Stephanie called her. I feel vindicated but also heartbroken. My son, the baby I rocked to sleep and sent to college and loved with everything in me. He did this. He was willing to destroy me for money. Mr. Franklin says we have enough to go back to court, to file criminal charges, but we need to act fast. He overheard Derek on the phone during one of his visits, talking about selling my house. In 60 days, once he has more established control, he plans to claim, I need the money for assisted living. He will sell my house and pocket the proceeds. Angela devises our strategy. We will file an emergency motion to dissolve the conservatorship. We will present all the evidence. Simultaneously, we will file a police report for elder abuse and fraud. We need the element of surprise. If Derek realizes what we have, he might flee or destroy evidence. We set a date. Tomorrow we will file everything. That night, I come home from having dinner at Mr. Franklin's house. We were celebrating our plan, feeling hopeful for the first time. I unlock my front door and immediately know something is wrong. My house has been ransacked. Drawers pulled out, cushions overturned, papers scattered everywhere. But this was not a robbery. Nothing valuable is missing. Someone was searching for something specific. My documents. The copies of evidence I kept hidden in a box in my bedroom closet. They are gone. The cameras Derek installed are disabled. Screens dark. He did this. Derek somehow found out we have evidence. He came here and destroyed my copies. My heart sinks. He thinks he has won again. He thinks destroying my copies means the evidence is gone. But he does not know about Mr. Franklin's copies, or Stephanie's copies, or Angela's copies. He only destroyed my set because he only knew about mine. Tomorrow in court, he will discover exactly how wrong he is. I stand in my destroyed living room and allow myself the smallest smile. For months, Derek has been the hunter, and I have been the prey. Tomorrow, that changes. Tomorrow, the hunter becomes the hunted. Angela files the emergency motion first thing in the morning. Judge Holloway, seeing the serious allegations in the motion, agrees to an immediate hearing. The clerk calls Derek's attorney. They are ordered to appear in court within 2 hours. Derek arrives expecting a routine conservatorship status check. Instead, he walks into a full hearing with a court reporter and Angela presenting new evidence. The color drains from his face when he sees Mr. Part, Franklin and Stephanie Torres, sitting in the gallery. He knows something is wrong. Angela begins. She presents the financial records showing Derek's desperate debt situation. She shows the timeline of when his financial troubles started and when he began planning the conservatorship. She demonstrates motive. He needed my money to save himself from bankruptcy. She presents the payment to the printing company. She shows the fake medical records traced back to Derek. She calls a representative from Dr. Phillips's office who testifies under oath that I was never their patient. The medical records are fraudulent. She presents the $10,000 payment to Dr. Stone. She calls Dr. Stone himself to the stand. His attorney advised him not to appear, but the subpoena left him no choice. Under oath, he admits Derek paid him for consulting. When Angela presses, he finally admits the payment influenced his evaluation. He admits he wrote what Derek wanted him to write. Judge Holloway's expression is thunderous. Angela presents the bank statements, showing Derek siphoning money from my accounts. Nearly $20,000 over 3 months. Theft. Elder abuse. She plays a recording from Mr. Franklin's home security system that happened to capture Derek and Candace talking on my front porch 2 weeks ago. Their voices are clear. Derek says 60 more days and they can sell the house. Candace asks what they will do with me. Derek says some assisted living facility. He does not care which one, whichever is cheapest. They laugh. The courtroom is silent except for that recording playing. Judge Holloway's jaw is tight. Marcus Webb tries to object, to defend, but Angela has mountains of evidence. Every lie Derek told is exposed. Every manipulation revealed. Derek takes the stand at his attorney's insistence. It is a disaster. Angela questions him about each piece of evidence. He tries to explain, to justify. His explanations contradict each other. He claims he was going to pay back the money he took. He claims the payment to Dr. Stone was legitimate consulting. He claims the medical records must have been a misunderstanding. Nothing he says sounds believable. Finally, he breaks. Under the pressure of Angela's questions and Judge Holloway's sharp interjections, Derek admits he needed money. He says his family was about to lose everything. He says he was going to take care of me, make sure I was comfortable. He tries to make it sound noble, like he was helping. His justifications sound hollow even to himself. Candace quietly stands and leaves the courtroom. She is already abandoning him. Judge Holloway does not deliberate long. She calls us back after only 15 minutes. Her voice is cold with fury. She says in 30 years on the bench, she has rarely seen such a calculated, malicious abuse of the legal system and exploitation of an elderly person. She immediately dissolves the conservatorship. She apologizes to me directly for not seeing through the deception initially. She says the evidence Derek presented was convincing and sophisticated, but that is no excuse. She refers the case to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. She refers Dr. Stone to the state licensing board for professional misconduct. She orders Derek to immediately return all of my documents, property, and funds he has taken. Every penny. She issues a restraining order. Derek is not to contact me or come within 500 feet of me. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Her message is clear. Derek will face serious consequences. The gavel comes down. This time, The sound is victory. Derek is charged within a week. Elder abuse, fraud, forgery, theft. The district attorney's office prosecutes elder abuse cases aggressively. They call me personally to assure me they will pursue this fully. Candace files for divorce immediately. She claims she did not know what Derek was doing. I doubt that is true, but I have no interest in pursuing her. She is losing her home, her marriage, her lifestyle. That is consequence enough. Derek's car dealership fires him. Word spreads in our community. His reputation is destroyed. The trial happens 6 months later. The evidence is overwhelming. Derek's attorney tries to negotiate a plea deal, but the district attorney refuses anything less than prison time. Derek pleads guilty to avoid a longer sentence. He receives 3 years in prison and is ordered to pay full restitution plus damages. The day of sentencing, I attend. I make a victim impact statement. I stand in front of the court and I tell them about the betrayal, about the fear, about what it feels like when your own child tries to steal your life. But I also talk about forgiveness. Not forgetting, never forgetting, but forgiving. I say I hope prison gives Derek time to find the person he used to be before greed consumed him. I mean it. He is still my son, even after everything. There are tears in the courtroom. Judge Holloway thanks me for my statement. The weeks and months after the trial, my life slowly returns to normal. Pauline calls, mortified and apologetic. She cannot believe she doubted me. We meet for lunch, and I forgive her. She cries through most of the meal. Our friendship is damaged, but healing. Other friends reach out. The church community is embarrassed. Pastor Williams apologizes publicly during a Sunday service. He asks the congregation to remember the importance of believing victims and not making assumptions. I am gracious, but some wounds take time to heal. Grace calls from Oregon. She is crying before I even say hello. She is sorry, so profoundly sorry. She should have trusted me. She should have believed me over Derek. I tell her I forgive her, but suggest she find a therapist to understand why she was so quick to side against her own mother. She agrees. She visits the following month. We start rebuilding our relationship, slowly and carefully. Mr. Franklin becomes one of my dearest friends. We have coffee every morning. He checks on me daily. When his birthday comes, I bake him Harold's special chocolate cake recipe. He says, it is the best gift he has received in years. Angela and I stay in touch. She calls every few weeks to check on me. I recommend her to other seniors who need legal help. She is building a reputation as a fierce advocate for elderly clients. Stephanie Torres helped me install a proper security system in my house. One I control. She taught me about protecting myself and my information. She gave me her card and said to call anytime I need help. I start volunteering with a local organization that helps seniors avoid financial exploitation. I share my story, painful as it is to relive. I help others recognize warning signs. I teach them what I learned. Protecting yourself is not paranoia. It is wisdom. The organization asks me to testify before the state legislature about stronger elder abuse laws. I do. I speak for 20 minutes about my experience and about the gaps in the system that allowed Derek to get as far as he did. 3 new laws passed that session. They are nicknamed Bertha's Laws. I am humbled and proud. 1 year after that terrible night, when Derek spread those papers across my kitchen table, I sit in the same kitchen. But everything is different now. This kitchen feels like mine again. My home feels like mine again. I have my independence back. My money is secure. In accounts Derek cannot touch. My house is safe. My mail arrives at my address. My phone rings with calls from real friends. Grace visits regularly now. Our relationship is not perfect, but it is real, honest. We talk about hard things and we work through them. I learned I am stronger than I ever knew. I survived. I fought back. I won. Not just in court, but in reclaiming my dignity and my life. Every morning when I wake up in my own bed, in my own house, living by my own choices, I feel that victory. I think about Harold sometimes, wonder what he would think of everything that happened. I believe he would be proud that I stood up for myself, proud that I refused to be a victim. Maybe he always knew I had this strength in me. Maybe that is why he married me 50 years ago. My pension statement sits on my kitchen table where I am paying bills. $8,000 a month. Honestly stated, no more lies, no more tests. Just truth and freedom and peace. I am 67 years old, and I have never felt more powerful. The phone rings. It is Pauline. We are meeting for lunch, our weekly tradition restored. I grab my purse and keys. As I lock my door, I smile. Life is good. Hard won, but good. And that makes it even sweeter. I want to ask you something. Have you ever tested someone you trusted, only to discover a truth you were not prepared for? How did you handle it? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who is facing a similar situation. If this story resonated with you, if it made you think about the people in your own life or the importance of protecting yourself and your loved ones, please consider liking this video. It helps others find these stories. And if you want to hear more stories about overcoming betrayal and finding strength you did not know you had, please subscribe. There are so many more stories to share. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Maybe someone who is caring for an elderly parent. Maybe someone who has noticed concerning behavior from a family member. Maybe someone who just needs to be reminded that they are stronger than they know. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here, for bearing witness to what happened to me and how I survived it. I hope, wherever you are, whatever you are facing, you remember that you have power, you have voice, you have worth. Do not let anyone take that from you. Take care of yourselves. Protect yourselves. Trust your instincts. And remember, it is never too late to fight back. Until next time.